Before we start today, I'd like to mention my sci-fi series on my basic production channel, Captain's Log, Galactic Police. Please subscribe. This is my own series in my own universe. There are some deeply hidden details. I hope people can see it for the potential and not just what it is today. When you watch my series, remember, I am a fan of sci-fi just like you, and I feel it's time for a new type of science fiction. The episode is split into 5 parts, so I will be providing a playlist in the description. So one of the oldest problems in Star Trek has been the order of stardates. This video will give a partial solution to the problem. I know of other solutions, but I believe this one is very novel. But before we can solve the problem, we first need to know what order to watch the show in. We will really be focusing on TOS, but this does solve problems elsewhere, including, I believe, the Chronology Project, whose goal is to come up with a definitive watch order. I guess the most obvious order is the first order I used when I was new to Trek, and that is the one All Hell Retcon tried, and that is Stardate order. Then, you don't even have a Stardate problem, right? Sorry, but despite All Hell Retcon's assertion, this order falls apart rather quickly in TOS, because although the references to previous episodes are sparse enough to prevent conflicts, there are issues. In Season 2, the ship had a refit. The most prominent change is the double-deck engineering and new controls on the bridge. In Stardate order, you'd watch the Season 1 episode, The Menagerie, followed by the Season 2, Cat's Paw, then back to Season 1, Arena, creating set differences. But the bigger problem is that the Stardates for Dagger of the Mind is in the middle of the Stardates for Mary. So they go to Mary's planet, get infected, and leave for Tantalus colony. And then they return to Mary's planet. Given the contagion they were dealing with, they couldn't quite leave the planet. Here, let me show you. I'll use my interface from my Galactic Police series that I plugged at the beginning of the show to show what I mean.
Captain's log, Stardate 2713.6. The building Mary led us to also housed an automatic transmission station, which sent out the signals that drew us to this planet. We also discovered something else. That the blue splotches characteristic of the unknown disease had appeared on each of us, with the exception of Mr. Spock. There was a well-equipped laboratory in the building. Dr. McCoy took tissue samples of each of us in an attempt to isolate the organism responsible. Captain's log. Dr. McCoy's biocomputer and a portable electronic microscope have been beamed down from the Enterprise. They will be used in conjunction with computer banks on board ship. Captain's log, Stardate 2715.1. Exchanged cargo with penal colony on Tantalus 5. Have departed without going ashore. Captain's log, Stardate 2717.3. 3 days, 7 hours left to us. Investigation proves that the supply of food left in the area is running dangerously low. Unless something is done, the children will starve in a few months. In addition, the disease is working on each of us according to Dr. McCoy's prediction. Our tempers are growing short, and we are no further along than we were 2 days ago.
So the Stardate order is out, which leaves us with air order or production order. So let's try air order. You'd start with the man trap, Charlie X, then Where No Man Has Gone Before. But Where No Man Has Gone Before was the second pilot, which had different controls. Also, the first pilot wasn't aired till long after the show was over. But okay, let's give it putting the first 2 pilots in order, then doing the rest of the show in air order. Next, you'll watch The Naked Time. Notice the panel Riley was sitting at? Well, it was actually placed in this episode for plot reasons. We will call it the O'Reilly panel. The next episode we watch is The Enemy Within, and you will notice the panel is missing. That is because, production-wise, this was 2 episodes earlier, and you'll keep running into this problem too. So now, if we agree to use the TOS production order, we can continue. I should also point out that TOS appears to have a different Stardate system from TNG, and maybe even the movies. That would also be a different video. So, to set up my theory, I want you to listen to a few logs from Captain Kirk.
Captain's log, Stardate 1672.1. Specimen gathering mission on planet Alpha 177. Unknown to any of us during this time, a duplicate of me, some strange alter ego, had been created by the transporter malfunction. Captain's log. Additional entry. Since our mission was routine, we had beamed down to the planet without suspicion. We were totally unaware that each member of the landing party was seeing a different woman. A different Nancy Crater.
Notice they were in past tense. I used to think that Kirk was on trial in the future, and each log was a defense of the actions he took. But long after I abandoned that idea, I came to a realization. Not all logs are recorded during the events of the episode. Now, how do we parse the stardates to use this idea? We could just select the lowest stardate and that would solve all the problems. But it seems to me the most honest approach is what I like to call solid stardates. These are the stardates that have solid evidence of being contemporary to the episode. The most obvious is when we see the person speaking on screen while recording the log. But we also have deadlines like in the Galileo 7 or when they show stardates on screen like in Star Trek 3 and 5. If we ignore all non-solid stardates, this creates only 3 problems. The first is the Conscience of the King, which has a solid stardate of 2825.3, but Galileo 7 gives us a solid stardate of 2823.8. This one might be solid because the stardate from Conscience of the King is the ETA to arriving at the planet. After the episode is over, they could have increased speed to get there earlier. Keep in mind, Kirk may have delayed their arrival to give time for his investigation. After the episode ends, he would have no reason to delay the arrival at Benicia. The second issue begins in this side of paradise with a stardate of 3417.7. But later in Metamorphosis, he has a stardate of 3219.4. Then the third problem starts in Breed and Circuses, which has a stardate of 4041.2, and then the Gamesters of Triskelion with a stardate of 3259.2. One possible explanation is an error in reading the stardate like in Spock's brain. The first stardate is 5431.4, but the second one is 4351.5. The rest follow in line with the first stardate. It almost looks as if the first 3 numbers are just mixed up. Just move the 5 to the start of the log and it all works out. The only issue is while this is one log, all the logs in Metamorphosis and Gamesters are local to that stardate. It's hard to believe that all of them are a mistake. After that, there are 2 types of stardates. Ones that are above the solid stardate line, which work in my theory as being recorded after the events. Then you have the ones under the line that don't work in this theory. Just a cursory look leaves us with 16 episodes that do not work. Keep in mind this is just a cursory look. A more detailed study might find more issues. I'll leave a link to my old website's list of stardates via the Wayback Machine. It does include solid stardates in the list. That's all I have for you for today's theory. Please follow the link in the comments for my Galactic Police series. Remember, the pilot episode of my new series is divided into 5 parts, so I will provide a playlist for a link. This is your chance to get on the ground floor of a new science fiction series. I will continue to improve, I just need your subscription. Have a good day. Thank you.